So, of course, you've got these unhinged adult activists, and the schools are just raising the next generation of child activists so they can go out and do the same kind of nonsense stuff unless we shut it down aggressively today, now. So this is happening in the city of Tumwater. So there's a lot of backstory here, but I'll explain what happened first. So this walkout, it was yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. They walked out. Tumwater School District walkout, May 21st at the start of first lunch for the trans and queer pride. Go to the Mark Twain statue. Okay. So the teachers were encouraging this, by the way, I should point out, but student walkout at Tumwater yesterday, and they did it, for trans and queer pride. Okay. So why does this matter? They said in the leaflets, why should you walk out? I'm not into politics isn't an excuse. Our country is becoming increasingly fascist, and if you don't see that as a reason to protest, you are a bad person. Straight up, it says. That is crazy. Protests like this are so much bigger than their specific issue. There are so many issues happening under the Trump administration, and it's all the protests like these that show that Gen Z doesn't agree with the shit happening in our country. Wow. Why should you do it? Part 2. Now, this is the angle that will sound familiar to you. Our school district banned trans girls from their sports. So, of course, this is an issue we were at the forefront of covering, which it's not true, by the way. They didn't ban trans girls, but you'll remember we had a young female, real female, student athlete who was in, Frances Stout, who decided to sit out her final game of the year. She was a Tumwater student basketball player because the opposing team had a biological boy. And you'll recall we had Frances Stout and her mother on the show, and we had the biological boy and his dad on the show. We did 2 really thoughtful, in-depth interviews about this issue, and it went crazy national. And as a result, the Tumwater School Board made a vote, which was totally, wasn't binding. They can't vote. Individual school districts can't stop trans students from participating in the sport that doesn't match their biological gender. So it was just symbolic. But they took the vote, but trans individuals, boys can still participate in girls' sports until the state does something about it. So they're totally wrong here. But it says, so our school district banned trans girls from their sports. Why is this bad? 1, obviously, there's a moral and logical reason why trans girls should be able to play in their preferred sports. Gee, I would love to hear these students explain the moral and logical, especially the logical. Mm-hmm. I'd really, in particular, enjoy hearing. In fact, come on. I'd love to have you on the show so you can explain to me the logical reason why biological boys should be allowed to compete against girls. It says 2, it is literally illegal to ban under Washington state law against discrimination. It's also blocked by WIAA and OSP PI policy. That's true, and that's why they didn't do it. So your second point undermines your first point. They actually didn't ban trans individuals from competing with girls because they can't legally do it at the local level. They should be able to, but they can't. So these students think about this, and I know exactly what their parents are like. Their parents were the ones ripping Trump yard signs and having temper tantrums over it. And they're raising this generation of activists who literally think Donald Trump is a fascist, who thinks that these are children who think these are dark days for our country, and who believe there's logical and moral reasons to let boys compete against girls. And thus we have to walk out of classes, and we must protest it as they did. Let's see. So there's this group in Olympia, P Flag Olympia. I don't know what P Flag.
It's parents flag.
So this is like
parents supporting
this nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know if they're part of the community, allies of or have kids in the community, but parents of, yes.
Okay, gotcha. So they took pictures at this. Take back our district, one sign says. The worst you can do is nothing. Protect trans kids. Okay. It says, shout out to students in the Tumwater School District who walked out today in support of trans and queer pride. The organizer of the march was spurred by a recent Tumwater School Board vote to prevent trans female athletes from playing on school sports teams. P Flag Olympia came out with signs, snacks, and support of allyship. There were lots of honking cars and support too. Together we can unite against hate and speak out for civil rights. Gotcha. Hating people is fine because you can hate Trump, you can hate me, you can hate Frances Stout, you can hate TERFs who think there's a problem with men competing against women. Hating them is fine. Threatening them and vilifying them is fine. But people just can't hate you. And the thing is, we don't even hate you. I don't, there's very few people I actually hate. I can think of a few. None of you, of course. Not you either, Nicole.
Oh, thanks.
Even though I told you earlier I hated you. I didn't mean it,
Sometimes
though. Yeah, no, I don't really hate you. I don't hate any of these people. I don't hate any of these students. I don't hate their parents. I don't know their parents. I don't hate the teachers, although I'm getting dangerously close. I just don't agree with the assertion that I have to accept biological falsehoods as reality. And I don't agree with the assertion that radical gender ideology has a place in our schools or in our government. That's very different than hate. That is a logical argument. What you're doing is not.